That's funny, dude.
We're going bad.
Hey, we're there, boys. We're on, man. We're rocking and rolling.
I'm trying to
All
look.
right, all right, all right.
Are we,
What's going
are
on,
we under the
Facebook?
Rockwall Veterans Business Alliance page? Is that where we're? Okay, got it.
Yeah, you guys can go and share it. If you got your video like a secondary piece, turn it on so you can watch your beautiful faces. Turn it down.
Oh yes. Oh yes. All right, here we go. Sharing this as we speak.
Casey, tell us what's going on in the practice.
Whew, in the practice. So my beautiful wife and I are social distancing.
We love all the together time.
Yeah.
Yay, there she is. The purple hair ESQ.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm so glad the office is open again. Thank you, Judge Sweet. Actually, man, it's been wonderful. So, working from home is a totally new thing because now I have to have, 2 desks with all my law stuff. And, essentially you pick up your laptop, right? And you take it like a football everywhere you go. We're not going to the courthouse like we used to. We're doing things by video. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm not the big fan. I'm not a big fan of how that deprives you of your right to cross-examine witnesses, to advocate for a client. I just think that unless it's pure legal arguments, where it's just like one lawyer versus another lawyer and the judge, you're at a disadvantage. And, I know that this may become the new normal for a while, but our founding fathers gave us the right to cross-examination. And in fact, the Supreme Court has held for over centuries that it is one of the most important rights that a client has, whether it's a civil case, a family case, a criminal case, is that the crucible of cross-examination where, you can see if the person who is your party opponent can withstand a withering examination of their truth and veracity, and being denied that right or trying to do that over a TV. Essentially, we're watching TV. I'm not good with it, and I'm looking forward to it coming to an end. But we're blessed, we're healthy, we're safe. Nobody's got the Rona. I'm not saying it's a hoax, but it might be. But that's all I'm gonna posit on that. And things that are going great in the practice. So we've got Cheers for Casa coming up on tomorrow night and Saturday. And I'm not going to steal RVBA thunder, but I'm just going to say, I know the big support from the veteran community. I want to thank all y'all for.
Hey, Casey, I'm going to go ahead and, give you the floor for a couple more seconds, man, because I know we were all going to do some videos this week, but obviously, we hitting the grindstone, we're running the gun. Just give us a 20-second pitch, where, when, what. Obviously we've done a lot with CASA backpack drives. Everyone on this Facebook Live right now has been involved with supporting that, but give us a few details on exactly what's going on Friday.
Okay, thank you. So Lone Star CASA is a organization. It's a nonprofit that, and it, if you're worried about like giving money to a nonprofit, this is almost not quite 100% pass-through entity, but man, it's damn close. So here's the deal. Court-appointed special advocates are volunteers, no money. They are not paid. They are professionals who give time to our most at-risk children. And so I'm going to explain the process just real quickly so you understand why it's so critical. Yeah. Kids are taken out of a home where some sort of family violence has occurred. Drug abuse, family violence in the form of assault, sexual assault, you just any combination of messed up nonsense you can imagine. These kids are coming out of there. Maybe they're wearing the clothes on their backs and everything that they hold precious in a trash bag. They go to the CAC, and then afterwards they're put into the foster care system. At that point, they are assigned a CASA, a court-appointed advocate. And these advocates are usually funding things like diapers, toothpaste, clothes, backpacks, whatever, out of their own pocket.
All the
So-
essentials.
Everything that these little kids need to feel some normalcy in their life. So one of the things that, you know, all of the veteran brothers and sisters in our community, whether that be through the American Legion, RVBA, Band of Brothers, Sisters, and Friends, we all lift up, especially we know that one of the pillars of our outreach is the future, and the future of America is children. So court appointed special advocates we're doing a cheers for CASA in combination with a couple of sponsors. We're selling t-shirts. We got raffle items. We've got a celebrity bartender tomorrow making quarantinis up at the Londoner. His name might rhyme with David Sweet, but you know, more to come on that deal. And Will, who is also an RVBA member, is going to be up at the Londoner, and he's also the manager of the Londoner now, for those of you who didn't know. And they're doing food specials Friday and Saturday, where they're kicking a percentage of whatever is purchased to CASA. And so Friday is a virtual / in-person happy hour. You can social distance, go get you a quarantini, what have you. And then on Saturday, we're doing a drive-by parade outside the Londoner and our office in downtown Rockwall. Just stop out front, you know, throw your hat in, throw some money in for a raffle item, get a picture. We'll throw you out on the social media on every, you know, everything but TikTok. We do everything but TikTok. I can't figure that out yet. I'm too old and I'm not hip enough. But that's the deal. It's Friday and Saturday. It's cheers for CASA. We love you guys. Thank you.
I appreciate
Casey, I got something for you. So seeing how we're talking about some challenges, right? And you're talking about the CASA. Have you seen a spike in cases with child abuse and domestic violence and or any other that's craziness that can happen when living within close quarters? Has there been an influx of police call outs or domestic violence call outs that you've seen on your end? I know there was a big kind of a scarcity thing that was going down, and people were really concerned about children being abused because their only safe haven is when they get to go to school or when they get to go to preschool or something to that effect.
Yeah, my understanding is there has been a spike. The only real numbers I've seen is that you know, and we don't have all the reports in yet, but there's been a spike in child abuse reports, and whether that's, you know, that's coming out of Tarrant County because they're self-reporting more or not, but that's the last credible information I've gotten, is that yes, there have been spikes. Tarrant County seems to be reporting more of that, and I think a lot of it, the other counties, Dallas, Kaufman, Rockwall, Collin, you know, we're going to see more of that as there's some transition back to normalcy. But my expectation is, yes, there's going to be a lot more reports, and we're going to be dealing with a lot more cases. And that's another thing, you know, because of Corona, you know, there was no car show. Most people know CASA because it's the big car show at the harbor in May, but we weren't able to do that. Right. And so we didn't get to spread that word, and but you know, these children who are, you know, that you're absolutely right, Doc, their safe haven is to get away from the homestead, to get out of the situations, and if they're sheltering in place for 6-8 weeks, does that increase their risk of danger? You're absolutely right. And
Yeah, 'cause it doesn't give them anywhere to go. It doesn't, you know, usually they get that preschool, that kindergarten, that whatever, you know, hell, even high school kids. I mean, you know, I was talking to the CAC last week just on some other things or whatever, and they have as well seen a tremendous spike in these. So go ahead, Aaron, what you got?
Just a caveat onto that. Don't forget, we do have the CASA Clay shoot coming up in the fall. That is a firm go. That's going to be.
It goes without saying that the RVBA is 110%. This leadership crew that's right here, we're on board. So if you're watching this video and you want more details, because we could talk for hours literally on the things we want to do and have done, etc. So I would highly recommend and urge you guys to reach out to one of us. Well, I mean, we can fill you in. I mean, Jen Ashmore is on the board, right? Kelly Hohenschuld. I mean, they have a new pres that just stepped in and it's completely changing the mindset of CASA. So Casey and I met with her, I don't know, a month or so ago. But get out, get involved Friday, Saturday. Go check their Facebook page out. There's all kinds of details there. And do us all a favor. When you're there, take pictures, pass it around on social media and help us raise the awareness. And hashtag, love CASA, something like that, so we can get a little bit more awareness for them. So what's up with you, Steve Colin?
Yeah, I love the conversation. It seems like we've got a few folks that are joining in on this live feed to plug in, not just to the updates that Casey did a really good job of explaining and kind of bringing everybody up to speed. I mean, the common enemy in this case is invisible at this point. And, what we're finding is a lot of people are not quite sure how to react. So, do you have some type of civil discourse where you don't, or excuse me, civil disobedience where you don't necessarily agree with the mandates that are out there, or do you address the problems that are coming up as a result of people not being able to orient themselves? And so we found that the transition away from folks not going to work or figuring out how to social distance or work remotely or transform their entire business to now working, taking advantage of digital content.
Yeah.
I think that it's the common theme is prior to COVID, there was this issue and challenge with child abuse, and post COVID, now there's still a challenge with it. And so if you're a veteran, you're out there listening to it, my encouragement to you is, a year ago, whenever I had an opportunity to meet a lot of these guys, I didn't understand the local resources that are dedicated and the camaraderie associated with trying to address those issues and challenges. And if you're a veteran and you're unfamiliar with some of these causes, my encouragement to you is to use Google as your friend in this case, and reach out to each one of these people here and figure out how you can get involved. Even if it's something as simple as what Jeff said, raising awareness, taking a picture, talking about your contribution to, there's a special place in hell reserved for folks that take it upon themselves to abuse these children.
Yeah.
And just because we're in close quarters doesn't give them a right to do so. And so my encouragement to you is to get involved and reach out and touch somebody.
I think one of the unique things that it was brought up in the business meeting earlier, who here, by show of hands, remembers a nice sandstorm coming in?
The orange
Right?
glove.
And so when you're stuck and you can't roll out on mission and you can't go forward, do you just sit around in the chew or the tent and do nothing? Or do you plan? Do you prep? Do you get ready to be released again and go double the efforts when that sandstorm is over? And that's what we are effectively in. We're in the middle of a sandstorm. So you're going to sit back and do nothing and pout, or you're going to make plans. CASA hasn't stopped. CASA still has a mission that will never stop. They're going to provide for those kids.
Yeah.
So they're taking this time to regroup, to come back bigger and better. That's why this Cheers thing is happening tomorrow. It's going to be great. It's going to make them more powerful. But I respect anybody that, especially amongst our community, we're part of a winner's circle that goes, oh, okay, I can't go out right now. I'm going to start plotting and planning like a caged tiger. I'm going to get out of this cage eventually. I'm going to be bigger and badder.
I got a question for you guys. It just this round table, just kind of spit it as you go. We're all talking about changes, right? The common themes right now is the change in environment, my environment, your environment, just the environment in Rockwall County. One thing that I've noticed is that not having those monthly RVBA meetings where we actually gather together has significantly changed my outlook on the RVBA as a whole, right? We came up with this virtual way to do things, and to be honest with you, I'll be glad when this crap is over, because I'm sick of Zoom calls. I love you guys, but I just want to shoot the shit and hang out with you. You know what I mean? I miss being around my brothers. I miss being around good people. And if one thing I can say comes out of all of this, aside from whatever BS you believe on your own personal thing, is that we all truly, truly cherish friendships, right? You've really found out how important it is for the human species to interact with one another. So how has that changed your thought process with maybe the content that you're providing in your businesses, the conversations you're having, and the way that you're approaching your businesses? And you jump in, whoever wants to get at it.
I think it's a good question. I mean, everybody has that question in the back of their mind. There was a LinkedIn post, but the majority of our business with folks that we categorize as either suspects or prospects, which they're not familiar with what it is that we do. The channel that we optimize, that we drill into is LinkedIn, the professional network that's there. It's interesting. There was a post that was done by somebody that we interact with about Instagram. There was an Instagram account with like several million followers. And so there's a level of distrust that gets generated whenever you see, fractional engagement with that level of followership. And the point that they were trying to make is, as everybody transitions to digital, there's this huge dehumanization element to that entire type of interaction.
Makes
So
sense.
for instance, if I happen to go to a website and I don't necessarily want to buy their product or service, there's a way that somebody can actually find out that I was on that site, and therefore use the excuse that because I visited that site that they have the opportunity to sell me something. And so with our Workaday world now transitioning to 100% online, and not 100% online, but the majority of it is going to online. And our children have now gone from 100% classroom to 100% online and virtual. There's this concerted effort to humanize digital experience. And so it's essentially what we do is we help folks with that process. However, it's difficult because it takes time and you have to develop trust. And if you do not take the time to slow down and intentionally do what you're talking about, Jeff, it falls on deaf ears. People are well-intended, but they completely miss the mark. So their outcomes of the work that they're doing miss the mark completely. And that you've got to have a concerted strategy on how you're going to shore up that human element to your digital persona, so to speak.
Yeah, it definitely takes a step back. I mean, guys like you and Casey, different elements as opposed to guys like me, Doc, and Withrow, who are like boots on the deck, so to speak. And you guys are kind of like the CO and XO, right? So you guys are doing more planning, logistics, things like that. Doc and Aaron, you guys can, because I'm talking too much here, I want to hear from you guys, but in Doc's Roofing, how have you progressed forward, knowing that people are skeptical about being in touch with each other? And I'm at knuckle bumps now where I used to be handshakes and bro hugs with my clients and stuff like that. What's changed and how have you adapted to that?
Well, it's kind of I'm kind of a unique situation. So
That's all right. That's what we want to hear from you.
I was able to screen our people with the COVID screening test. So that by me being able to pass on that information to our prospective clients, that built that trust, right? They're like, all right, well, this company has gone a little bit above and beyond to not pass on this infection or this virus or whatever you want to label it, right? But bottom line, what has always continued to grow Doc's Roofing is the foundation that was laid when the company was first began, which was relationship driven, right? Word of mouth driven. And we've built relationships up with different real estate teams, different networking communities, different networking groups like the Band of Brothers, like the RVBA, like some of the chambers. And so we had put in so much foundational work prior to this epidemic ever happening that really we're just kind of reaping what we sowed at the moment. Yeah. Right. So a lot of that stuff is just kind of funneling down, and gracefully enough, we were able to weather the storm through the 2 months of the quarantine. I mean, I don't know. We're doing more damn roof inspections now than I have like in 5 years.
Well, that was going to be my next question was, who here in this circle is more busy than before the media made coronavirus what it is.
Right.
I'm
Like,
telling you, right? So
It's
did that
crazy.
make you think that maybe
I got
mindset, which we always talk about, right? Surrounding yourself with winners, your mindset changes your playground. If you go back and look at what are we at, like 60 days in on this stay at home, whatever BS. Man, my pipeline board is it's crazy. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to stay humble with it, but financially, I'm above where I was even at half of a year last year. So for those out there, and I'm not bragging by any stretch of the means, but for those out there that are really like the woe is me type people, you got to put that behind you right absolutely now, because the shit is out there, the money is out there, the clients are out there, and if you ain't going out to go and get it, then that's your fault.
I'm going to compound on what Doc said, and that it really resonates, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Shout out to Keller Williams. Just one good example out of many. So I'm not just doing this, but I can use this specifically because I manage the Keller Williams Rockwall's agents. I really try to help them out as much as possible. I put a lot of focus and energy into that. And they haven't stopped a bit. Their real estate market is going to take an unexpected turn. They don't know if it's going to be better, if it's going to be worse, if it's going to be a buyer's market, if they're going to be a seller's market. But like Doc said, we've been sowing those relationships for so long and providing good quality to them that we are, I'd say, super busy just trying to make sure that we're keeping their agents receiving good work. You know, hey, Aaron, could you go take a look at this roof for me? You betcha. On the way. You know, hey, can you go and take a look at this repair job? Nobody else wants to do a simple repair. Docs does. And so, yeah, we're busy because I'm seeing other people out there hustling. I mean, we're part of a big chain network. You know, whoever sends us a referral, we're then sending off those referrals and those trade projects to other tradesmen.
So what you're saying is
and
that
women.
you're saying kind of what Doc was saying is
Yeah.
that everything that the foundations of your business have actually enhanced themselves because you put in the work over here, right?
Yep.
And I would say after even talking with Casey, you know, some of the things, dude, you remember this guy a year ago when he first got that little house he's in right there, the office space that he's in?
We had no beard.
Now, dude, talk about being so freaking daggone proud of that guy, man. I mean, the way that growth goes is, you know, we hang with him, he hangs with us, we hang with each other, and we're all, notice this, guys, we're all benefiting from it, from each other, right? That circle of networks. So
And now he's got so many lawyers, they're practicing from on the porch. There's just not enough space for all the litigators. So many lawyers.
Steve, what have you gained, like from the RVBA standpoint, as you've started to get involved gradually over the last 90 days, 120 days? Where do you see that helping your business? And the reason I ask is for some of these new RVBA members, give them a little bit of input on how that's excelling or helping your business.
So it's a good question. So my background is Marine Corps, right? So I spent, you know, almost 10 years total time in service. And, you know, being a relatively new business entity in a community like Rockwall, you have the added benefit of being able to leverage borrowed credibility, right? And so what I mean by that is in the Marine Corps, there's this perception of Marines that really is derived off of 2% of the entire population of Marines, and that is the infantry folks. And then on top of that, you can take it one step further to say that infantry folks orient themselves more along the lines of how special operators function.
Yeah.
And so the entire, you know, Marine Corps, all the way down to the cook, the logistics dude, like I'm a knuckle dragging, you know, logistician myself, but we operate based off of the credibility that they've carved out for us. Now we all have a similar process in how we got trained. And that's what's been most beneficial in business is we have a lawyer, service providers, and don't kid yourself, Jeff, just because I happen to work behind a computer doesn't necessarily mean that I'm, you know, less apt to go out there and get my hands dirty. I spent years pouring concrete. I've fallen off more roofs than I can essentially talk about. I've been up on top of roofs, filming Doc, creating content for his business.
Yeah, no, you get after
so,
it.
you know, when it comes to orchestrating and formulating strategy, without having other like-minded business owners around you, you will operate in a vacuum, in an echo chamber, and you will be without it. Essentially, you're gonna go off the rails. It's like trying to bowl without guardrails in your out, or not. What are those, bumper lanes? You end up throwing it in the gutter ball every single time without some type of calibrated feedback. And that's what's great
Gotta
about
live through
a
vision like
network.
this too, right?
Yeah, and quite frankly, without discipline, which every one of us have discipline, if you're, you know, a service member, some of us maybe have a few more pounds than others, and I'm not calling out any names right now. I'm just saying that the point that I'm talking, and listen, I'm jealous because I can't grow it here. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You have to use
So,
chia pet.
yeah, I got you. So my point in saying that is, without like-minded individuals kind of holding you accountable, because they're always checking you to make sure that you're not full of shit. Excuse
Yeah.
my language. I know we're on social here, but my point is there's always folks looking. And so you need to have that kind of added pressure. It's almost like your accountability that you had while you're in the military. You have that with business ownership here in the local community. And so I admire this group for leading when they didn't have to, when it wasn't convenient, because now they are reaping the benefits as a result of that hard work and that groundwork. And I'm fortunate enough to just be able to be associated with it.
Yeah, the accountability is huge, and I think that's a big deal. I know Doc and Casey and I do we read a book, and then we kind of record our conversations about the book, and that one word kind of comes up, shit, man, a lot. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you got kids, you know that, I teach my son all the time. If you make a mistake, hold yourself accountable. Just say I did it. You may still get the shit into the stick of that. You might get in trouble, but you know what? Your conscience is clear, and you're holding yourself accountable, man. So yeah, that's good, because I think new members of the RVBA need to understand that while this is a social network where we get to hang, and guys have a cold one here and there, and we get to actually just be in that camaraderie that we all love and miss about the service. There's tremendous value. And if there's someone in the RVBA that you don't know, go talk to them. I didn't know Steve a year and some change ago. The first time I saw him was at a Christmas parade. That's where I met you. One of the best guys I know now. Aaron Withrow, as much as he looks like a pirate, great guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I'll tell you a little bit about accountability. I went through a lot of my life not being held accountable, right? Nobody was there to really hold me to the fire, even in the service.
yeah.
Just because the corpsmen have such a gray area rating, I was able to finagle, hey, I'm over here doing this, and then I'm telling the Navy I'm over here doing that. Right. So I tell the Marine Corps one thing, I tell the Navy one thing. And at the end of the day, I'm just out with roller skates on. Right. And for a long time, I prided myself for that. I was like, oh, look how slick Rick I am. Look how cunning I am. Right. But thinking back on it, I really wish somebody would have held me a little bit more accountable, because I can only look back and say, damn, if I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Right. And that's probably the worst thing anybody in business wants to do with themselves, is look back and say, man, I wish I would have done something, right? Because if I would have had the same accountability relationship that I have with the people that I know today, I guarantee you I would be 10 times more advanced in my life than I am right now, right? Because I thought it was more important to have my self-interest in mind versus the self-interest of my existing clients, or my friends and relationships, or those that I walked and talked with. Right. I always, when I heard somebody say, oh, I have a mentor and I talk to him, every other day or whatever, I was like, you're a moron. Why would you talk to some guy that, you know what I mean? Like, I just looked down upon it. But over the last 5, 6, 7 years, I guess I matured. I grew up. They always say that it takes men a little bit longer to kind of hit that peak of maturity level. And I'm really grateful, because I have, of all people, I have Aaron holding my ass accountable. And I'm like, what the crap? Why does dude tell me what to do? I don't want to, you know what I mean? But I'm a man of faith, right? So God puts people in my life for a reason. right? Me knowing all of you, it's for a reason. It's a reason I don't know, but there's a reason out there behind it. And as long as I don't fight that reason and just allow that to transpire, great things will happen, and great things have happened. And that's all boiling back down to the accountability, the relationships that we built together, becoming honest with myself and staying honest with everybody here. Because I used to give, like, right, I used to care what people thought. You know what I mean? So I would sugarcoat things or this, that, and the other. But today I'm able to shoot Steven straight. Me and Steven used to meet all the time, once a week, and go over things. And he was like, Mike, that's not going to work. Mike, what about this? You know what I mean? And that's helped me think more outside the box. That's helped me gain a lot of clarity in what direction. Meeting with Jeff and Casey on those Saturdays, reading Think and Grow Rich, has totally expanding my whole thought process.
Yeah.
So having those accountability partners, having those relationships in your back pocket to be able to readily rely on is huge. There's no amount of money out there that can pay for the amount of information that we've gotten from each other. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
knowing that shit, man, is just huge. And hell, I told my wife and kids, they got to get out of the house. I'm doing the Zoom call today at 5 o'clock. You know what I mean? Because she now knows how important it is to me to see you guys become successful and help everybody else that's part of this group to become just as successful. Right.
I mean, and that goes right back to the camaraderie that we all know, love, and miss with the service, right? When you're in a tight knit group, you want to see your brothers and sisters, you know, you want to see them succeed. It makes me so happy when I talk to a friend that's doing business and they're running their own business and they tell me a good story. Hey, I hit a milestone, or I signed a massive contract, or whatever it is. Or, you know, Casey says, I need more network jacks because I got like 50 people in a 2-man room. You know, like, I love that, man. It gets me so freaking excited, like to a point where it just motivates me to want to be better. It motivates me to want to get out there and hustle more. I mean, dude, I can't even, I get ecstatic and excited about it. When I see my buddies and my friends doing good, it makes all of this worth it. It makes the late nights, it makes the Saturday meetings, it makes the XComs better. When you know your friends are benefiting from the social network that you've created. And we've done a badass job at creating this network. I'm so proud of this.
Yeah. And I can remember at a time, man, maybe 2 years ago, where we were all kind of scratching our heads saying, man, are we going to do this shit? Are we going to not do this? Are we going to pull the trigger? Who wants to run this shindig? I mean, and so because it was scary, right? We wanted to put our best foot forward for the community, for businesses out there. But again, I was fearful. Well, I don't want to sacrifice all my time and then my company suffers, right? Yeah. Or what if I give somebody the wrong advice and they go out and they don't exceed to their expectations? Are they going to blame the RVBA for that? You know what I mean? So there's all these different challenges that we were faced with. How do you marry up with an organization like the Rockwall Chamber? And are they going to see the same point of view that a bunch of hardened freaking veterans are they going to look and see us the same way? And absolutely not. We've had a couple of really deep discussions with that organization, but it's only made our organization and the chamber organization that much better. Absolutely. Because we trusted each other and we were able to have those adult conversations and clear all that muddy water. So now we understand what our mission, vision, and value are, and we all respect that mission, vision, and value. And as soon as we got all on the same path, I mean, we just excelled to another level. And even when this COVID thing hit, you know, we hit the ground running. We're like, screw that. We're going to start going live every Thursday. And regardless if one person shows up or 50 people show up, we're going to dedicate 30, 45 minutes to whoever wants to listen, because we care about it that much that we're just going to keep doing whatever we need to do to become successful.
Well, and it's staying relevant, right? Kind of going back to the content. We were offline having a quick discussion before we started the Facebook Live, and my content has changed. If you follow my videos, you know, on my Facebook page, Doc's content has changed a little bit. Casey's content is evolving to more value he's way more consistent than even Doc and I are on it. I mean, he's pumping those bad boys out like he's getting paid for it.
He is getting paid for it.
So, man,
Hey, I'm gonna touch on that. Okay.
yeah.
You know, here's something like, how can we bring value to our fellow business owners in the chamber and our veteran business owners or whatever? You know, 6 years ago, I left the good job, the proverbial good job in the city, because I was sick and tired of working for other people, making millionaires millions. And it took me about 24 months to figure out that the best way, you know, you got a great product, but nobody knows who you are, and you've got no way to market it because you can't afford a Yellow Pages ad, right? This is what I was dealing with when I started my own law firm out here in Rockwall, Texas, in a one-room office in the old Cameron building, right? Just me and a couple of law books and a cell phone. So, and a laptop. No IBM Selectra. But
I've been there.
it wasn't that long ago. So
It was a closet.
it was a closet. But here's the deal, guys. You know, the thing is that all it takes is some creativity, some perseverance. It's all the same things you learned in the military, right? Creativity, perseverance, and dedication. Social media advertising is still your all-time best avenue because it costs nothing but creativity and time. And if you're a young, small business owner, those are two things that hopefully you have in abundance. If you were like me, my phone wasn't jumping off the hook. I didn't have lawyers on the porch when I started this deal, 6.5 years ago. I had me, right? And I was the head file clerk, chief bottle washer, and briefing attorney, and mail clerk, right? I did everything. And when you take a moment to start being creative with content you create and you put out positive, uplifting, and beneficial things, good things. And that's a lot like what the RVBA does. And when I met Aaron Withrow a couple years ago at a chamber, well, I think it was the Wednesday after work, or I don't even remember what it was, but he was wearing this blue name tag. And I'm like, what is this dude with a name tag? And why would I want to hang out with this guy? And he's trying to get me to join the American Legion. Never even heard of that. I think my dad was in the Legion, and that was so short-sighted to me. And I'm so thankful for the perseverance and creativity of Aaron Withrow, Trace Johansson, introducing me to all my brothers here on this screen and my sisters who are not. But, we have found a way to lift each other up. But, one thing is that you're a young business owner, and the thing that stands between you and success is anonymity. And social media, to this day, I can't figure out TikTok. I'm not that hip, but a lot of people can. And putting good, positive, uplifting, beneficial, informational content out there on a consistent basis will lift you up. It will lift up your brothers. It will lift up the things that are important to you, like the charities that you support, Helping Hands, CASA, CAC, the Rainbow Room, whatever it is you're trying to lift up. You can do that in a very, very beneficial and almost free. It's not completely free because it costs time, and time's the one thing you can't get back. But creativity.
Yeah, but what it does, Casey, it sets you up as an authority. And it's funny because I actually gave this lesson today. Roy City Chamber asked me to do just a real quick lunch and learn for the next 6 weeks. And we've been diving into Cialdini's principles of persuasion. Just 6 simple steps of things that make people more likely to listen to you or take your persuasion through things that natural, ethical, good people do. Reciprocity. Why does reciprocity work? When you give somebody a gift and you're looking for a yes, hey, I'm with Black Level AV and I really would like to do bring your house up to a modern level. Can I give you a complimentary assessment of your home? That's a gift. Okay. But what you're doing, Casey, and what Jeff was bringing up, it's what we talked about today, and that's authority. how to use authority and how to get authority. And what you're doing is even if it's just a nice message, even if it's uplifting, you're throwing in some good content. Doc does the same thing when he's talking about roofs and saying, you know, hey, these are the things you want to pay attention to. You're setting yourself up to the social world, to your friends and family and the people that look at you on social as this guy knows what he's talking about, even if he doesn't. That's why people believe in the Facebook science. So if you're actually putting out seriously good content like you do, you're setting yourself up as an authority. And then how that works in a humble manner is you turn and you say, well, these are my authorities. This is where I'm getting it from. I'm investing in my community to bring this information to you. So when I stand up on top of a roof and say, look, this is the way it's supposed to be done. This is the way it's not supposed to be done. I know what we're doing, but also I'm looking at the International Residential Code and it says this is the way it's supposed to be done. I'm investing my time and effort into becoming a subject matter authority in roofing. And I want to share that with you. Casey's doing the same thing with his content and his value-based items. I am giving you this value because I'm an authority, but it's not because I'm just winging it or coming up with it. I've learned it from here and I would like to give it to you. It's a reciprocity, it's an authority, it's humble. There's nothing wrong with being a subject matter expert in your field. And I think that is a great gift that you're out there giving to the masses.
Well, what's
Jeff
your
does it.
take on that, Steve? Because Knucklehead Media Group is, man, I mean, this is your lane, right? This is
Yeah.
that we call when we're, hey, is my content shit? Do I need to take a left or a right? I mean, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on content in general.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, the Casey and Aaron, so both of y'all, to follow up with what both of y'all have said, there's a perspective that you have because you've seen what doesn't work. And so because you have there's folks that call it self-awareness. You can borrow that term if you'd like. I think it's just more being a human and understanding of what works and what doesn't. I also truly want to maybe add on to what Aaron was saying. Simply don't underestimate the value of focus, meaning because you see some incredible content distributed across social media platforms. There's a lot of infrastructure that's already been paid for by a bunch of ad dollars on these social media platforms. So that infrastructure is designed as a tool to help you to help amplify your voice. And so don't underestimate the value of focus, and then don't underestimate the value of your human voice. You know, we essentially brand our content as bringing dead leads to life through podcasting. But really if I'm being honest with you, what it does is it helps to facilitate trust, and it increases the velocity between stages if you're going to be in sales, or if you're simply just trying to articulate your message to somebody who's not familiar with what you do, what makes you different than other people. So you can do that on Facebook, you can do that on LinkedIn, you can do that over email, you can really just do that by going out and knocking on doors. But the reality is the consistency between all of those is you're doing something. The
Did
propensity
lawyers get out there and knock on doors?
What's
About
that?
that same thing. You're about to go knock on doors?
No.
I've done it. I've chosen not to do that as part of a deliberate message and shake people's hands or, fist bumps or whatever COVID's calling us to do nowadays.
Door knocking is where the beast lives, baby.
Well, I tell you what, there's some if somebody was going to be knocking on my door and asking me if I wanted a roof, I know who to call first. And so I'll just put it to you that way. So
I get the hustle behind the door knockers. I really truly do. But
I don't know if that answers your question or not, Jeff, but
and on the end user side, dude, the moment someone knocks on my door, I'm done even before a word comes out of their mouth, except Girl Scout cookies. I'm a sucker for those.
I understand.
Yeah.
So the I don't know if that answers your question about content, but there's a lot of people who feel as if that they can just overrun. And I've heard it said a little bit earlier today in a client call, blitzkrieg as a strategy, going and just through mass quantity, diluting the value of your voice.
That's the
And my-
Grant Cardone method.
You know, my suggestion is to not necessarily do that, to take some time to ask some questions and pay close attention. If you don't have a way to get feedback loop to your content, meaning you're not able to elicit feedback, you're not able to do some market research, you're not able to take that information and distill it down to actionable 13-week sprints, you're probably wasting your time. And obviously there's folks here that you're not a content business, Jeff, but you are. Doc is not a content business, but he is. So if you don't think that you're in the content business in 2020 and you happen to be, cleaning out toilets or whatever the case may be, you're grossly mistaken. You are in the
Explain that a
content
little.
business now.
Explain that a little.
Well, what I mean by that is if I don't know who to call, if I have a clogged toilet, meaning if somebody is not being relevant or top of mind, and I happen to think that my business isn't worthy of promoting in a content form on some type of social media channel, then I've already lost.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
No, I'm
So
a huge-
here's something that we talked about with media driving content, because this is really good because we talked about it today in the authority piece. I'm just in that typeset. So Jeff, let's use you for an example. How do you become, what is the benefit of you doing good content and becoming an industry authority? Why does it benefit you to show what you do, to have other AV professionals use you?
People know that they can trust what I do and it's going to be done right.
Right. So when I go on to YouTube and I'm looking for somebody to go control for my home, and I see that you have more videos viewed than anybody else, you're an instant authority. I actually want to look into Black Level. So you're looking to do two things. You're trying to get engaging content. Stephen, correct me. This is not my lane, but it's how I'm understanding it. I've got people from two different directions. I've got, let's use me now for an instance. I've got other roofers looking at me doing valuable content on the roof, inspections, ridgeline, things like that, where I can show 30, 45 seconds on what right looks like or what we just did. Look at this 100-square house that we did for Dennis London. Look how beautiful it is. Look at the different features. I've got other roofers looking at me, which are increasing my views. And I've got potential customers looking at me, which is increasing my views because I've got both sets of people looking at me and my content. So how do I engage them? That's where that content lives. That's why you do want to get out there. And I think you're doing a great job. I can tell you just straight from the bottom of my heart, there's a lot of content out there and I look at it and pass. I look at your videos, Jeff. I watch it.
Let's get
Not all the way through sometimes. I am waiting to see if a small midget falls out of that beard. You're probably housing a pygmy tribe.
And, you know, I kind of roll with like what Steve said, man. You don't see a Black Level AV video every day. And some people, I just talked to a dude that says, do 2 posts a day on your personal page and do 1 on your business page every single day. But I'm of the thought, like Steve said, that, you know, I don't want to be the Grant Cardone where I'm just hammering down content. And at that point, the sustenance is gone. There's no point to watch. I'm scrolling right past it. You know what I mean? So I'd like to think I have a strategic plan in my head and a process for my social media marketing.
It is, but I got to say, I mean, I look at other, oh, sorry, Stephen, I'm stepping on you.
No, I interrupted you. I apologize.
I was just going to say, I watch other seasoned roofers. If I see a solid roofer out there, I'll just throw them out because they're nationwide. The SVG group. If I see one of the people that I've seen put out good content before, I will stop because I'm never too unengaged not to learn from another seasoned roofer, period. So that increases his power, but in the back end, it increases my education. I want to see what he's up to. Jeff, you're at that level. If you're putting out content, I know it seems like it's a lot of content, and I'm not trying to argue with you. I agree, the Grant Cardone, but other up and coming people are going to look at your content because now they see you as a subject matter expert, an authority. Casey's the same way. You know, as the bar president, he's in charge of something important. Nobody cares but other people in his field, but right.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting the way that it gets. So there was somebody who just asked the question of, so is content and an ad the same thing?
Yeah,
And
good catch on that.
You know,
Yeah.
I in my opinion, and I'm not just using, I've formulated my opinion based off of what's worked and what hasn't for myself. And then I've been observant of other folks who have been very, very effective at using paid for ads to derive a result. So they're results driven in terms of their decision to use paid for ads.
Yeah.
However, they've also been overran over time. They may have gotten the short win, so to speak, like the transaction using a paid for ad. However, the long tail benefit of building a relationship, what is the lifetime customer value up? What is the overall lifetime value of that particular customer? If they facilitated trust and used a value added content strategy, in my opinion, a podcast, giving them a free tool, free meaning the my voice, you can listen to it in a podcast. Everybody has it preloaded on their Apple phone. You can listen to it, and it facilitates trust if people have the ability to decide to listen to you. So that is content. Content is different than an ad. You can use different mediums to produce an ad, but you can also, as quickly as you made money, you can lose money. And my whole point in deciding to go with organic, SEO rich, and relevant content for my audience is because I'm not necessarily in an interest to lose business once I've gotten it. I'm interested in creating, I've heard it called before, brand zealots. I'm interested in facilitating lifetime long relationships, doing what it is that I do. But I'm not always going to run a podcast production agency. And oh, by the way, if I do, that's not going to be the only business that I own. And I'd like to be in business with a lot of other people than just the first 10 to 15 to 20 to 150 clients that I'm going to have. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think we can all agree here that the short-term clients, what I call in my industry, the hanging bangs, those aren't necessarily the ones in any industry. In any industry, I think we should be kind of focused on, right? We want to all get in on those long-term marathon clients. I have dozens of clients that have referred me time and time again and done multiple projects. Doc has them, Casey has them, we all have them, you know what I mean? So I'm definitely on board with that 110%.
I want
We'll
to
say,
tap in a little bit to Sean Allen.
yeah, spitting some spicy comments.
Yeah. Hey, that's good though. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Keep it coming, man. I really do enjoy the engagement.
Yeah.
Right. Some people do have a ton of content, but yet there's something about the content given that doesn't really resonate, that they know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times somebody has picked up a book, read a few pages, repurposed what they read. Guess what I am? I'm knowledgeable. I'm an expert. I know everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I want to know if somebody is a true in fact proficient in their field, is time and grade. If you tell me that you're an expert in social media and Facebook and marketing and advertising, but you've been doing it for 90 days, like, kick rocks. You know what I mean? So that's what's going to prove. The proof is in the pudding, so to speak, right? If you want to talk to me about drug testing compliance, I've been doing that shit for 10 years. Like, there's nothing you're going to be able to tell me that I don't already know. If you want to tell me something new in the roofing industry, I've been doing it for 5-6 years now. There is still enough room for me to continue to learn and grow with, because it's called time and grade. If you want to talk to me about recovery and how bad it sucks to go down a pipe dream, I will promise you I got time and grade in that, son. So content does not reflect you being an expert in anything. Time and grade and falling on your face and making thousands and thousands of mistakes and then hopping back up and accepting the failures that you've made and being able to push through it makes that person that expert. You know,
The only exception to that rule, Mike, the only exception is if you subscribe to Knucklehead Podcast, you can learn from other people's mistakes as opposed to.
Bingo.
Oh,
definitely can.
cheap
Throwing
plug.
it out there.
Cheap plug.
Hey, but the man's got a point, because
True.
when he first started, like, I was like, okay, this guy runs a podcast. I mean, come on, dude. Like, what is it going on? Then I did my podcast with him, and then I said, okay, well, let me go back and look. And the dude's got tons. And you go through and you just pick one day. Bam, let's play with that one. And there's a nugget. There's a nugget there, and there's a nugget there. And, I mean, I'm telling you, dude, like, if you're willing to have the open mind, there is so much information out there I always have this cliche saying, and everybody's heard me say it. If I can take away one thing from the conversation I had today and apply it somewhere in my life, then I'm good with that. And to Sean's point, yeah, there's a lot of bullshitters out there. And you know what? You have to be the person that weeds through that. If you believe everything that everybody tells you, man, that's your fault. That's just straight up. That's how I feel about it. So, I mean, you have to be willing to understand that the content is out there. But if you're putting content out there just for the sake of putting it out there, you might want to reevaluate that, because there's a value that's there, right? You have to provide that value.
Can I say something on that? Yeah. And I think all of you are absolutely right. Does it matter that I have practiced law for 6,027 days? No, doesn't matter. 16 years and 6 months, doesn't matter. You know what matters is, am I better than the lawyer I was yesterday? And am I aspiring to be better than the lawyer I was on November 6, 2003? Yes. So here's the deal, and why you want to capture what's on Knucklehead Podcast or from other people who are putting out important content, because in 16 years, I will tell you that the first, with the exception of working for Judge Barbara Hervey at the Court of Criminal Appeals, which was just a fantastic experience, for 10 years, I learned absolutely how the fuck not to practice law and run a business. You're talking about the most fucked up combination of bullshit I've ever seen and the most obscene display of wealth I've ever seen. I want you to know that in the year of our Lord 2010, my law firm, I won't say the name, spent almost $100,000 on reel-to-reel dictaphones. What? Do you know how ancient that technology is in the year of our Lord 2010? Yeah. So anyway, our biggest expense besides we had to hire a craftsman down on navigation to fix our dictaphones because nobody else in the city of Dallas, Texas knew how to work on 3M magnetic tape recorders anymore. I don't even know how old the guy was. But our second biggest expense was 97% of our commercial real estate was files, paper files. We're talking in an age where the cloud had already existed and 97% of our space was paper files. So, figuring it out, don't make the mistakes of your elders. Listen to Knucklehead Podcast, listen to Grant Cardone, listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, listen to these gurus who can tell you how to get from A to B in the fastest possible way without tripping on every single tripwire that they tripped on. Just because they fumbled on the 10 doesn't mean you have to fumble on the 10. Get self-educated and do it because it'll make you faster, better, and stronger, right? Okay, if you want to be the best in your field, you need to be the most educated in your field. Just like in the service, just like in business. Self-education is everything, and not having to learn from your mistakes. Learn from the mistakes of others. They are putting the information out there for you. There are authors who are former Navy SEALs who are now business coaches. I mean, these are books you got to read, you got to digest, you got to consume, and you got to reread the books that you might have visited in your youth that maybe you were a little dismissive about because you weren't on the right chapter to capture that information. I have read Napoleon Hill books more times now in the last 5 years, and they were required reading in college. And I frankly don't even remember what the hell. I just know I had to check the box. I've read this book, Professor so-and-so. Let me get my grade and move on to the next business class. I didn't get anything out of it, but now I do. And now when I read these lessons from my betters, from my mentors, they go a whole lot deeper. So don't be afraid to revisit that because it will speed you up. You don't need to trip on the 10, right? Don't fumble on the 10, get the first down, punch the ball in the end zone.
And then the most important thing is to watch the news, right?
I'm not going to go there because I know you're baiting.
Oh, blow, Jeffy.
All right, because you went there.
Hey
That's
man,
good.
I just wanted to end it on a chuckle and a laugh, man, and just say I appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. I've gained tremendous amounts of knowledge and wisdom from each one of you guys. Thanks for spending the afternoon with us today. I mean, usually we keep this at 30 minutes, but there was no way I was going to cut this short with the conversation that was going on. So, every Thursday, the Rockwall Veterans Business Alliance is going to jump on here until this COVID bullshit's gone and we can actually get back together. So, appreciate all you guys listening in. Thank you so much. You got one last closing statement? Of course you do.
Of course.
No, I really agree with you, man. We had really good content in the last half, and I thought it was rocking and rolling. So if you're out there looking at this and watching this, get a hold of El Jefe here and put that content out, and we can get started. Like, this was really good. I learned a lot from you for it. I always do. But let's have more input. Like, if there's something else besides content that we need to be talking about, we need, comments from the peanut gallery, please. There's something out there that we can put together. Hell, if you're a subject matter expert in something and you want to get in here and talk it up with Jeff, this is your platform. That's what the RVBA was for. So I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah,
We're-
great point, man. I mean, we're always like, look, we'll just close in closing here. We appreciate you guys joining us on the Thursdays. It's keeping us motivated. It's keeping the fire going. But while the name Rockwall Veterans Business Alliance it is what it is, and it won't change. This is not a closed group to veterans. We've extended our doors as of 2020 to let you in. If you're a business owner that's passionate about running a solid, productive business and you want to learn and grow with other people that are like that, get in touch with us. Let us know, call the chamber, get to be a member of the RVBA and start getting involved. That's when things change. And when you're in an uncomfortable situation, that's when real change takes place. So y'all go crush it tomorrow. We got one more day this week. Appreciate you guys stepping in and hanging with us. Semper Fi.
Army strong.
Semper Paratus.
Did his voice just crack?
I like Semper Paratus better than Hooyah and
Army one.
All right, peace out, boys. Y'all have a good night.
Be all you can be.
Lake Minnetonka.